What's going on? And it's Brian and Nick, or Nick and Brian. I don't know how you're gonna say it, but one of us is talk sports, the other one we. Oh, my sound was on. That's my fault. The sound just came back. But if you're someone that watches the show a lot, Ryan Props is out today, so it's gonna be a good show. I think a lot of times he weighs things down, and as always, we're sponsored by Pickett Sports and Slipper Picks. So Nick, how are you?
Not too bad. I can't complain. Hit a huge skee ball ladder in the first game, so that always makes the rest of the day that much better. So
Yeah, I was sadly driving during that time. That's why I was a little bit late here. But during the 1 o'clock show, I know I was on under 4.5 hits with a little hill. I don't even know how many hits he allowed. I was driving. I tailed him on it, and he was looking good for the first 3 innings. I don't know. It
yeah,
sounds like he had a pretty dominant start.
he went 5 innings, 9 Ks. So then they took him out
Oh, and
for pitch count.
the San Fran only had 4 hits in general, so I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
my under 4.5 probably won there. So thanks to Will Hill
I think
for
the
that.
math. Yeah, math adds up on that one.
Yeah, somehow I'll lose. We'll find a way to lose there. I'm just trying to scout up a little bit, but yeah, it actually is nice. I think that was a good angle for Nick Hill, for Will Hill about Scooball there too, because as good as he's been, he's also been a little bit limited in his pitch count. So it's hard to allow hits if you're only getting 4 or 5 innings at a time. His pitch count's pretty capped.
That is true. Can't give him up if you're not out there.
Yeah, but he still got the 9 strikeouts despite that small pitch count. He's
I was
in that.
begging
He's
for one
nasty.
more. One
Yeah,
one more would
yes.
have pushed it to like plus 3,400 or something like that for 10.
Yes. And then did you had it up to 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But at least it was probably like super small at those odds. But yeah, that was a fun game. This is it's funny that I'm convinced Ryan decided to skip out on this show solely because it's like a terrible slate, and I think he just wanted to stick it with me and you, and he gets out of it scot free. Because the rest of the slate, I mean, I have two plays. I don't know how many you have, but it's a
You as
really
well.
it's weird looking slate, man. I mean, the game's in what, 4 hours? The Diamondbacks don't even have a starter announced yet. Wainwright's pitching, but he's a can, and who knows what his limit's even going to be? Probably like 60 pitches. You have a slate where, I mean, you have, I guess Castillo is a good target for trying to find strikeouts, but they just make his lines so unbelievably unplayable at times, where he's getting 7.5, and it's just a little high there. But yeah, I don't know if you want to kick us off and go with the first play you have. So we can kind of just start cutting through things.
I don't know why this is, but every time I'm on with you for anything, it always involves the Phillies. Every
Oh,
time.
is it? I'm actually intrigued to see what your thoughts are on
You
this
know
on
who's
this
pitching
game.
for the Phillies too, right?
It's Sanchez again,
Yeah, I'm not touching him. He's dead.
who let us all down last time.
Yeah.
He had
I'm going
two.
the other team.
So before you say that, if you remember the last time we did a show was Wednesday, and you were saying he's going to strike out the side and then get no more. He didn't do that, but he did get
It was
two in the
close.
first two batters, and then
Yeah.
he got two the first two batters, and he finished with three. So
Yeah.
it was close to what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm going Kramer PPD ladder against the Phillies.
Interesting. What's his base for 4.5? Okay, but if you
Yeah,
get
but
the if you get the win,
you
it's
can go to
probably what, like
four.
plus 140 for 6-1, for 5-1. I mean, is it around there, or is it even higher?
I think it was 145 is what it was.
It's not bad for the 4-win.
4-win was 145.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
He had
this.
he had one trash start against the Dodgers his last start, but before that he's had 5+ in 10 straight starts.
Yeah, I was on him against the Dodgers last
Yeah,
start,
so was I.
and it was a little unfortunate. If you remember, though, he was a little shaky, but I really thought he was going to cash my bet because he turned that double play to get out of the fifth inning, and it looked like he had 5 innings. He was at 70 pitches, and I was like, dude, I just need two more outs. Like, this looks great. And then they reversed the double play off a challenge, and then he proceeded to walk the next batter and allow a 3-run shot. So baseball can be weird like that. I mean, he didn't look bad.
Escalated
Like
quickly.
he looked bad to start, but he was kind of settling back in. Only 3 runs allowed. Kind of gave me a false hope that he was going to do it, and then one challenge overturned play, and then next thing you know, he got destroyed and looks like a terrible start. But yeah, he did settle in nicely there. He's one of my favorite
Baltimore's
pitchers.
kind of hot right now too. Like
Yeah,
they're playing
no,
well.
and the Phillies aren't. The Phillies
Right.
offense. The Phillies came all the way back. I finally started to care again, and the last weekend, I mean, it's been bad. It's been really rough watching this team just drop games. I mean, they lost 1-0 to the Guardians on Saturday, and that just killed me. That yeah, I hate watching dominant pitchers give dominant starts and still walk away with the loss.
I need you to do something for me. I need you to rank 1 to 3 teams you hate the most between the A's, the Rockies, and Cleveland.
I think A's are first now because I don't touch the Rockies. If you asked me this a few months ago, you know what? No, I'm gonna go Guardians first, A's, then Rockies. I don't touch the Rockies anymore, and I am gonna say a PSA to everybody out there: if you do bet against the A's, just know that day they probably would be the best team in the universe. It's kind of crazy. They let me down a little bit on Sunday with the A's, but any other day they're like 30% strikeout rate team. But yeah, I get really infuriated sometimes when things are supposed to happen and they just don't. Uh, for instance, Hunter Brown yesterday,
Oh, man.
just not being able to get a whiff. He could not get any whiffs.
I needed it
Which I
bad too.
actually, it's funny I bring that up because I will kind of segue that into my first play. Is I kind of hate that the only books that allow you to do out PPDs is Caesars or 365. I don't have 365 sadly because it was plus money there, but I did take you Darvish over 17 and a half outs paired with the Padres money line. um, like yesterday with Hunter Brown, me and you were talking in the morning. We both were on it. I actually really wanted to take the over 17 half outs with how drained the Houston bullpen was, but
Right.
I ended up going A, which seemed safer with the 6 strikeouts, and B, what's more widely available because it's easier to tail a strikeout PPD than an outs one. But I'm kind of just over the strikeout market, man. Like it's so frustrating at times. I mean, like you can hit that full ladder like you did this morning, and you're on cloud nine. But on the other side of things, watching the Oakland A's make contact with every single pitch that Brown threw was just infuriating. So I did pair this with the outs and the win. I hate trusting the Padres offense. They're another team I hate, and just because they have all this firepower, and then you'll see them lose games 2-1, 2-0, just not be able to get anything done offensively. But they get a matchup here against the Pirates, who honestly I did it with Mitch Keller, and I can think you can do it with some other guys. If you get outs props for some of these starting pitchers, you can almost just take their overs for the Pirates. They
They
don't
don't
really
even
care
care.
anymore.
No, they
They'll
don't.
let guys just go. I
7
mean,
run, go
what's
back
his
out there.
what's his name? Is it Prestor? I think it is, or
Preacher?
Priester? Yeah, like
Yeah,
he
rookie.
same thing. He his first start last game, he gave up 7 runs in 5 and a third, but they just let him pitch. Like it wasn't like he was effective. He kept throwing strikes. He threw 64% strikes, but he was just getting hammered, and the Pirates just let it go. Like they just
Right.
allowed it to happen. So same thing here. I mean, if this Padres offense, even if they get slow start to him, they're going to get the leash. And the second time through the order, they should really destroy this guy. No offense to him as a second star. I always root for young pitchers, but this is just a bad place to be. And at the same time, Yu Darvish has not been great. I mean, he's been shaky all year, but he's always been better at home. His 370 ERA at home. It's not great what we're used to, but he always finds his footing at home. And I think even if he is struggling or he doesn't go 6 innings, which is you can see he's only done 9 of 17 starts. He throws like 95 to 100 pitches a day, I
Right.
mean an outing. So I do think if you have 100 pitches against this Pirates team, even with them struggling, 100 pitches should easily translate to 6 innings here. I mean, this I said earlier in the show. I think he's in the chat somewhere with Brad, but this Pirates team against righties the last like 30 days, their WRC plus is like 75. I think it's really bad. Like I don't know if you know that stat, but people listening, but I think if Nick and Brad and me and like the GoldBoys came out and try to play a full game, we get close to 70. I mean, they are just not hitting the ball well. So I think you Darvish should just be able to just shove against these guys, give them six, be in line for the win. If you don't have Caesars or Bet 365, I do think 6 strikeouts and a win's a good out pivot. Or I think it was plus money, and it still is plus money, but you Drivers to record a win. Padres have a good bullpen. He should easily go at least 5, which is all you need for the win. So I think that's a good pivot if you wanted to go a different way.
It's funny you bring that up because I was going to ask you. FanDuel has that 50% boost,
I did not see
and
that,
I've been
but
staring at you, Darvish PPD. I want 6 though, but it has to be a straight play, so you can't do like the
Oh,
6 and
but you can do it on the like they have the tab for play performance double, right? Like, wouldn't that count?
that counts, but they don't have 6 listed. They start at 7.
Isn't it kind of funny how they do that on purpose? Like that's crazy. That's so annoying because they know that
So
you're able
you can
to.
boost 7 to plus 158.
I think 7. Someone's asking if you would ladder him. I think you Darvish him. His strikeout stuff has not been there this year, but this team he should just shove. I mean, he should
He's
have
been
7
better.
innings.
He's been better
He
of late.
Yeah, he's been better of late, but he should shove in this game. I mean, the Pirates are you're going to see the Pirates be a team that lets their young starting pitchers go deeper, and you're going to start seeing them call up guys that are just going to have to
Mhm.
go through the growing pains of being called up late in the year on a struggling team, and they're gonna miss a lot of bats. I just think this is a good spot for him, and we'll hope that it works out because for all we know, they could turn into like 9 Barry Bonds now that we need them to do
Oakland A's, you
poorly.
mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Turn to the Oakland A's. Yeah, the Pirates could turn to the A's. Yeah, but I just don't see this. I don't see this.
I think I might just they don't have lineups yet that I've seen, so I might wait for lineups and just kinda see what they throw out there.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Ryan Props in the chat. Someone also in the Twitch chat says Priester going to K the Padres tonight. Does Priester even have a line? I didn't see one earlier.
I think it's 3.5, but he's not, like, maybe 4.5. He's not a huge strikeout guy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's just a guy. He throws the worry I have with him against this
3.5 plus
team, three and a
112.
half plus money. Yeah, I don't hate that either. But the problem with him is, like I said, he throws a lot of pitches in the zone. Which, if you're doing that, you would hope to God this Padres team that really can just be so frustrating. If you keep attacking that zone, they should really be able to make contact and do some damage to him and set him up for the win.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on that one, and I might play that
Yeah, I think,
7 to
like I
win.
said, I like the outs the best, but I don't. If you want to stay with this, I just am over strikeout props. Can't do them anymore. That's all you, man. I will allow it for you on
As
our
long as I
Wednesday
know you're
shows to
not
kind of.
taking it, if we're not on the same thing, it's usually one of us
Yeah,
will win.
and only I think strikeout props are fine as long as you're not thinking the same way as somebody else. Because if two people see it and oh, that makes sense, it never makes sense. Someone else in the chat also asked about Ryan Yarborough or whatever for the Royals. I did see his line was 2.5. That's so funny to me. Yeah, he's 2.5 on DraftKings.
Those Yeah, those lines are crazy. Like, those are ones you get with, like, Greinke, 2.5.
Yeah, I will say I've actually played as under 2.5 before, and it's a fun sweat. But yeah, this Guardians team is so strange because they don't strike out at all. But I swear, every time I see their lineup, I always highlight 2 or 3 guys that in my head should be strikeout candidates. I don't know if they have their lineup up. Yeah, but
Yeah,
his
he's actually been decent against them. Rosario, he's struck out 2 out of 7, Ramirez 1 out of
yeah.
8, Naylor 1 out of 3, Jimenez 1 out of 3, Brennan
The
1 out of
over the
2,
over is
Straw
minus
2 out of 5.
140 and the under is plus 105. So honestly, that is a if they're asking our thoughts on it at 2.5. I mean, he had 5 against Cleveland last time, right?
Yeah,
I
5.
believe. Yeah, so I don't hate
Five
that at
against
all. I
Baltimore
just
too, who doesn't K much.
honestly, the only thing I can say about that is I actually believe that 2.5 is probably the right line. Like, I think that's a perfectly
Mhm.
set line, choosing 2.5 to the over. If it was 3.5, I probably would look for the under. But yeah, I
You wanna
just
know who
think
he
two and a
didn't
half
go over against?
the
Oakland.
A's.
Only
Oh
2.
god, how many of how many innings did he go against the A's? Because 2 strikeouts. What did
5
he pitch?
5 and 2 5 and 2/3.
Okay, that's not bad. I mean, the only thing is I'll say is it is a bad slate. It's kind of, you know, iffy for this slate. If you wanted to ride it, I wouldn't hate you if you wanted to bet that because that's such a fun sweat either way. Whether it's the over or under, he's only going to give you probably 5 innings and asking for, you know, a give or take of 2.5. I mean, you're gonna get 20 batters. Hopefully you can find him or not find him depending on it is. But I don't really have a thought either way. I think that's a good line for him.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to bet against Cleveland's lineup sometimes for strikeouts.
Yeah, and so I think someone said Ryan signaled Prester over 3.5. Yeah, the Padres offense is they're either going to score 13 runs tonight or they're going to get no hit. So we'll find that out later. But
Oh,
let's
they're approaching one of the teams for me,
now,
the
yeah, I don't like the
Padres.
Padres. The only thing I can trust Padres for is taking them over for walks against like Rich Hill or like some other pitchers. Like I'll take over walks against them because I mean they treat some of these guys like they're hitting, prime Barry Bonds numbers or some of the other guys, but they really have been so frustrating. But do you want to go with your second play? You haven't got only two for each.
Yeah, let me get it here. It's not a typical play that I usually do on the
Yeah,
shows.
because the Marlins aren't playing today, so
Hey, watch it. Let me pull it up here. Where'd it go? Shoot. Give me 1 second.
this is crazy. Nick came on the show. He has two plays and he can't find the second one. You have two, and he can't even think about it
I
right
got
now.
it. Good play.
It's also not a
Speaking of the
typical
Marlins, did
what
you
what,
see
what
the end of the game yesterday?
I did not. I feel like I
So
didn't.
extra inning. Well, for one, I had Lazardo PPD ladder, and he has 12 strikeouts, and they're winning. Bring in Puck, the closer, gives up a bomb, so it's tied. Goes into extra innings. Rockies don't score the top of the 10th. Bases loaded for the Marlins, 1 out, bottom of the 10th with Arias up. They put a guy in left field, a guy in center field, and everybody else in the infield. And then, okay, so if you're doing that, you're obviously going to pitch him away, right? Because he's a lefty. You have a guy in left field and a guy in center field. Like you'd have to throw a fastball away.
Yeah, I did not see this. You know what's
He
funny? Yeah, keep
threw,
going. Wait, hold on.
they threw a curveball to him, so he just yanked it into right field. Game over.
I did not see. You know what's
I was
so
like,
funny?
that made
I
like
I
no
didn't see
sense
that
at
at
all.
all. But yeah, that's you're really. I mean, I guess in that situation, you're also gambling that there's not really a good option because
The only option
anything.
right there is you walk Arias because he's going to beat you anyway. So just walk
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Walk in the winning run.
that's wild. Yeah, you know what's funny? I didn't see that because I was too busy watching Joey Gallo bunt with two men on in extra innings and two outs. I never saw that. I was too busy focused on that. The 2 out bunt by Joey Gallo. That's where my focus was. That and hating my life, seeing every two strike count for Hunter Brown either turn into a walk or a contact out. So, yeah, Sunday baseball is fun like that. You get to see fun things like you know Gallo bunting with 2 outs or some other fun things. But do you have your play now?
I do have
Did
my
you,
play.
is that enough
So
stalling for you?
no, I had it. Three guys not to strike out. Luis Garcia on the Nationals, Ramirez from Cleveland, and then this is my new guy that I really like. I mean, he's been up 2 games with the Brewers, Sal Frelick. He's got a lot of Arias like tendencies in him. He gets 2 strikes a lot, but then he just shoots it the other way or just puts it in
Yeah,
play. Not a huge like power swing. So he was only like maybe 9 or 10% K rate in the minors, and he hasn't struck out since he's been up yet.
I feel
So
like I should tail these more from you because they just seem so fun. It's like every 20 or 30
uh,
minutes, your guys at the bat, and you get to just
dude, it
hate
was
life.
bad. I did it yesterday with the 100% boost and hit like a plus 700 one, but like that game went into extra innings, and you're like, oh no, Arias has to hit again. Like he was the last one left in it. So you're just hoping it. And then, of course, it goes into extra innings. And I'm like, dude, if I loses now, but it's fun for sure because you can kind of just jump from game to game and when your guy's up.
Yeah, Terrence
So
Stamp
I
just
did
sent me that Marlins picture. That is absurd.
so I did that with the 25% boost on DraftKings, and it goes from plus 392 to plus 490.
I
And
like that.
all those guys are like 10% or less K rate.
I like that. I might have to hop in that with you just because I don't know. I feel like that's got to be a fun thing. Maybe I'll do that and I'll see if Soto's walk prop is below 2.5. Add that to it. Maybe if it's 1.5, I'll like hop in. His .5 walks must be like minus 500 in most games.
Yeah,
That's just
it's like betting Arias not to strike out when it's like
even
minus 375.
even Shohei Otani, his walks are like they're still like minus 120 at times for .5. I feel like they're gonna have to start juicing the hell out of those soon because it's
What do you
just
think like
happening.
Bonds' walk would
I
be?
didn't even know they probably didn't even offer it. Like, there's no way any bookie was taking action on that. Like, I wouldn't even imagine that. Like, let's see. Someone just said Nick Larson finally learned the method. Oh, they called you smart. I
Wow,
don't, I
something's
don't buy
messed
that.
up.
I don't buy that at all. I mean, this guy.
If you learn my method, I'd love to know what it is.
No, they're talking about your method. Like you with K's, you figure it out. Like you're a smart man.
Oh, but you said finally learned your method of
No, like
playing
like
tennis.
like yeah, like I guess I don't know. He's been following your expertise, which I don't even
That's a
I
stretch.
forget you exist at times. So I'm glad that you did the show. So I'll move on to my plays. We keep this moving because, like I said, the shorter slate. We don't have to make everyone else listen to us talk for too long. So I split it. So it moved a little bit because DraftKings juiced Colin Ria's uh, earned runs to -135. It was -115, but when I played it, but you can get -119 on Caesars or -120 on MGM. So there's still plenty of options to play that over 2.5. But my favorite thing to do is I split this. So Ria's for the Brewers, his earned run prop is at 2.5, but the team total for the Reds are at 2.5. His outs are only 15 and a half or whatever. So they're only expecting him to go 5, but the earned runs is -115 when I got it. The Reds over 2.5 is +110. So what I like to do is I like to take half a unit on both because it's kind of a similar play. You need 3 runs by Urea in the first 5 innings or the sixth inning if he goes there, but it kind of covers your bases because if he does pitch into the sixth, he leaves some guys on the pond or he struggles, allows a dinger or something in that sixth inning, you get that cash and you cover the other
Yeah.
play if it doesn't hit, or vice versa. What if he's a bases loaded? There's a single throwing error. They give him like 200 runs. You don't cash the other thing. So it kind of covers your bases on either play. But at the end of the day, you're just hoping for a walk homer in the first inning. That's the most ideal thing. But yeah, I texted you about this earlier. Ria's been decent this year in terms of he hasn't sucked ass. Is that like decent? I mean, his ERA is what 4.6. He's been all right. Like I mean, he's a bottom of the he's at the bottom of the rotation guy. So being sub 5 isn't the worst thing. But I don't know. I don't know if I really buy that he's had some great starts. I mean, even last week he went 5 innings. He lost 3 runs, but similar thing. Only 2 was earned. So which is why you can cover yourself here. But the thing I find surprising is the start before the Phillies game, he played the Reds and they shelled him. They had
I'll
7 hits
say,
against them.
as a Brewers fan, these guys that they keep throwing out, like Julio Teheran, Colin Ray, and Hauser, like they're gonna turn back into a pumpkin soon. Like Hauser had
Yeah,
10 Ks against the Braves. Julio looked like he was pitching from 8 years ago yesterday.
yeah.
This could be like a
This could
10
be
run
bad.
and
So,
4 inning
so
thing.
the other thing is I always give the benefit of the doubt to the offenses if they see a pitcher the second time. So I'm surprised that he gave up 5 without even going a full 5 against the Reds like 2 weeks ago. And now you're getting plus money for first 5. Sure, it's a little fishy, but this Reds offense, I mean, they've been up and down, but there's 2 things they do well. They hit guys hard. Reyes allows a lot of hard hit balls, and I actually kind of like the fact that Reyes doesn't walk guys. I think the Reds sometimes they struggle tracing some bad pitches, especially with guys like De La Cruz and some of those other guys that just get too eager at the plate. He throws strikes. I mean, he doesn't walk guys, and if you're throwing strikes this team, I mean, they can really put damage on. You saw yesterday they put 7 runs. This offense has that ability just to kind of rake, and I think they should do it today. So I like the idea of splitting it. Hopefully, the idea is you win both, but you can cover yourself either way. And his ERA at home is over 5. His last home start was the Reds, which is even funnier because the Reds sometimes their numbers can get somewhat inflated by playing at Great American Ballpark. But yeah, the fact that they put that on him away, it gives me all the confidence in the world to do that. Yeah, someone in the chat. Oh, mom who bets. That's one of my favorite person on gambling Twitter. They're super supportive, super nice, and that's what you're supposed to be like. Unlike Ryan Props, who is a cancer to the gambling Twitter world, which is why we're trying to phase him out of the show. But yeah, they said that the earned runs is -145 now on DK, which is actually even crazier because the first five is still plus money on DraftKings. I think that's the best way to kind of look at how to back offenses now. Is sometimes you see these props where it's like the earned runs like 3.5, but the first five is 2.5, and you're thinking is in what case is this starter even going to go past five? So I think you can find some discrepancies. So I'm going to use our sponsor Pickett Sports for earned runs. Yeah, you can still get minus 125 on MGM. Wow, that's funny. When I checked before the show, it was all minus 120, minus 118s. So that has changed a lot. I wonder
Moving
what
lines.
happened. I wonder what. No, I didn't do shit. I just wonder what happened in the last 40 minutes or 30 minutes. But
Have you
yeah,
seen speaking of the Reds, have you seen this stat? In Luke Weaver's last 10 games, he has an 8.79 ERA, and the Reds are 9-1 in those games.
they always randomly give them crazy amounts of run support.
So they
It's
can
a
put up runs
wild
in
thing.
bunches.
You know what happened? I'm looking not to cut you off either, but Rhea's outs were minus 110 both ways. And now that's juiced to minus 130 for the over. So naturally, if his outs get
That has
juiced,
to
the
move.
earned
Yeah,
runs will move with it. Which I
yeah.
don't buy. I mean, I don't even hate the under for his outs. I just think I'd rather fade the fact he's going to give up a lot of runs.
I think their bullpen's pretty fresh for the Brewers too. They got good starts from Julio and Hauser
Yeah.
the last two.
No, I think that's a good fade. And I know you're a Brewers fan, so reached out to you early to make sure that
I
was
don't like
good.
it. The only Brewers pitcher I like is Peralta and Corbin Burns. That's it.
That's fair. That's fair. So that's the only two plays I had. I don't know if you had any other thoughts. I'll be honest. I think we have some decent plays for this slate, but yeah, I think there's like 7 or 8 games, and some of them are just complete stay away from me. I don't think they're super appealing. But I do think uh, there is some value in the places we talked about with sadly the Orioles, and I do think the over in the Rockies Nationals is a decent look, but the over 9. But I didn't end up playing it. I just didn't love it enough. And the only other person I could think about on this slate would be Logan Allen, like strikeout PPD. But as I mentioned earlier, I cannot touch strikeout PPDs or the Guardians
Anytime
anymore. So
Cleveland.
or Cleveland. So that's all I have. I don't know if you have any like closing thoughts before we move to the some of the other segments about the slate in general, because that's the only bets and thoughts I had.
The only other game which I'm not going to bet the pitching side of it, just because, like you said, I hate when teams play each other so in such a quick time span. But Castillo versus Maeda with Seattle and Minnesota, I like both those guys for Ks, but I think I'm going to bet it different. I'm going to probably bet first plate appearance strikeouts for some guys who have big K numbers versus these guys. I might put like a parlay together, like Francis 0 for 6 with 4 Ks against Maeda. Julio's 0 for 3, 2 Ks. I'll probably put a couple of those together and play those straights. You can usually get them like plus 250 as straights.
I like that. Yeah, and we got someone in the chat that did subscribe to the channel, which is great because when Ryan's here, usually people take away their subscriptions, but today we're actually getting a subscriber, so we really appreciate that because it is fun to do this and kind of answer some questions. But yeah, I do like Castillo. I kind of hinted at him earlier. I did like him earlier where I said this is a great matchup for him, but his strikeout numbers aren't as great as you would want them to be for a guy that's getting a 7.5 prop that's juiced. I just think it's kind of scary where asking for 8 strikeouts is a lot, even if it is, some of these high K rate teams. So I don't know if I can trust it, but I know earlier today Brad Thomas gave out his over 17.5 outs. I like his outs. I think he should miss enough contact and get enough weak contact to go all 6 innings. But yeah, I think the lines are too inflated for me to do anything.
Agreed. It's too. That's why I'm just trying to look a different way to play it.
Yeah, and to take it into the Pickett popular plays, the most bet player on Pickett for the Pickett users is Luis Castillo. So it's kind of funny that you brought him up without even planning it. You're like a poet without even knowing it. The most in so actually, it's funny. A lot of people are laddering his strikeouts. He has 3,000 picks out of his 3,300 all on strikeouts. People are betting over 6.5, over 7.5, over 8.5, over up to 11, up to 11.5. So there's
What is
people out
what's
there.
his line? Isn't his line 7.5?
Yeah, which I wonder if the people with 6.5 are player performance doubles or parlaying it with something
Yeah, it
else.
has to be.
That's gotta be what it is. Because if it is a oh, actually 7.5 is plus 110 now. That actually fell down because earlier it was not plus money for 7.5.
No,
So
it's
I
not.
don't even hate that. And the player performance double for 7 and a win is plus 170 on FanDuel. So yeah, I definitely don't hate it. I mean, the people allowing up to 12, and 12 is 12 to 1. I guess that makes sense. That I think you have to do it at 12 to 1. That's kind of a nice homage.
Right.
But I think we kind of covered him already. We liked that prop, but I just don't know about you. I don't see much value in taking the 7.5s. Even that
Yeah,
12 to 1 for 12 plus
it's just
strikeouts,
really
that's
tough
crazy.
when you gotta get 8 just to hit, like, the first rung, it's
Just hit the
just hard.
first
Uh,
wrong, yeah.
yeah.
Because it's like so much has to go right to get those high number of strikeouts. Even for a guy like Spencer Strider, I will take his 8 and a win sometimes, and if he doesn't get one in the first inning, you just immediately start, you know,
You're
losing your
panicking,
minds.
yeah.
Someone in the chat says that DraftKings is lower. My guess is DraftKings probably is down to 6.5. I'm going to guess like minus 155 if FanDuel's at plus 110. I'll check DraftKings later, but I'm imagining it's the minus 150 range for 6.5. So I don't know about you, Nick, but I've started to do some plays like that. If I like it, I'll parlay it with like a guy to not record a win.
Yeah, I'm a
And
big fan of that market as well.
I think it's decent as long as you can accept that if you lose off that, you can't jump off a bridge. Like if you lose to like Jordan Lyles 9 inning masterclass, like you just have to laugh it off. You can't get too invested in it. But I think a lot of the times they offer these markets of not to record a win for guys that don't even go five sometimes and like most of the time. So I think it's always nice to kind of have that in your back pocket. The second most bet player is a player on the Twins. Kenta is it Miata? Ma-
Maeda.
Maeda? Yeah, Maeda. Yeah, I honestly I will let other people have that. I think he's crushed lines for everybody. I've never bet on him my entire life, and I don't know what
Yeah,
it is. I think if I hop in now, I'm going to ruin it for everybody.
he just faced them too,
Yeah.
like, a couple starts ago. Or last start, and he had 9 Ks.
Yep.
9, 6, 9, 4, 8.
He's got nasty stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of movement on some of his pitches I mean, he's classically shown on Pitching Ninja Twitter all the time. Oh, actually, Pitching Ninja is it X now? Is that what you say? X? Like it's not longer Twitter. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's way above my head.
yeah, I guess you live under a rock, so we won't go too deep into that. But yeah, last time these two teams played, Castillo had 9. I mean, had 11, and Maeda had 9. So I can see the love for taking these guys with their high strikeout lines. But yeah, I always get a little bit worried when you play a team that close together. Just for the matchups, which kind of ties into why I like the fade Rhea today because he just played him and they're going to be able to time his pitches probably even better. So that's always something to
Yeah,
keep in.
they got that extra video stuff on him that they can look at now.
Yeah. Um, this is an interesting one. The third one is Jose Barrios, who I forget that they exist at times. I mean, all these Blue Jays pitchers that were once strong and mighty, like Barrios and Manoa, I used to bet on these guys all the time last season. Now you can't even touch them, which makes a little bit of sense because the most popular play for him is under 17 and a half outs. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, he's my dude from I've known him for a while, but he's been bad lately. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I'm
Not
a big
Manoa bad. Not Manoa
oh
bad,
well, no one's Manoa bad. That's that's a whole other
but
thing. Yeah, so
is
I just brought
it's
it
on the
up.
road, right? Is this on the road?
It's on the road. That's
Yeah.
that's usually his Achilles
Yeah,
heel.
yep.
Man, but he's gone full 6 in 7 of his 10 starts. I
He
know it's
hasn't been as bad as he was last year. Last year he was really bad. Um,
yeah, I know it's the Dodgers. I'll be honest, this is the late game, right?
yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah,
play his strikeouts. His
I wouldn't
strikeouts
play a
are
striker.
okay.
I might look into play the over if it gets bet down enough. Like if it gets bet down enough, if it's like a popular trend to bet the under, I'll look into an over for 17 and a half. I think he's got it in him. It's a little scary on the road, but I haven't done much research into that. But I do think 17 and a half for him is
I
Not a
mean, his
bad look at
ERA
all.
his ERA doesn't really reflect his record. A 3.39, he's only 8-7.
Yeah, no, I actually might end up doing that. I think I think the 17.5. It's like I said, especially if things go right in the earlier slates, I would actually disagree with Pickett. I'm sorry about that. I don't usually try to disagree with all the Pickett users, but that's the most bet things is under. I could be wrong, but I would probably lean over if they were given even odds both sides and I had to make a pick.
He's another guy who I know it's tougher to live bet out, but he's usually a guy that blows up in the first inning. So
Yeah,
if
no, I
he
think
gets
that's nice.
if he gets a couple
Um,
quick outs or doesn't walk two guys in the first inning, he should cruise.
yeah. Someone in the chat just also asked. Oh wow, we just got rated. That's so. There's a lot of people here now. So Nick, do something crazy. Like, can you do a backflip? No,
Shoot, I used to be able to, but can't
there's
anymore.
no way you should be able to do a back. How tall are you? Like
4'3".
4'3". I knew it, dude. You know what's funny? Because you're always so on camera. You don't know. Like Ryan's like 6'4". I didn't even realize that. But yeah,
No, dude, I'm
I
like
definitely
5'10".
5'10". All right, so like
Yeah,
average. That's
yeah,
that basically describes personality as average. But in the chat, someone asked
yeah, just
if
average.
there's one any thoughts on big board, which games you like the most? Do you have any games you like the most?
The most, um, based
I don't
on
know.
lineups,
Honestly, I don't hate the Cardinals game if you're fading Adam Wainwright. I know he's not going to be out there for a while, but I'm not. I like Wino, but dude, I don't know. He's been trash can. So that's my pick. Is probably that.
are they
Or I
talking
like.
about big board strikeouts or big board first pitch?
I would guess they're gonna go with first pitch only
First
because I
pitch.
feel like that's I don't know. It doesn't
That's
specify,
yeah,
but I feel
that's
like
the new
that's
hot
I
thing.
feel like that's what everyone cares about.
Um, I kind of like Schwarber. Schwarber to swing first pitch.
Someone in the chat said Nick is standing up right now because I said
Yeah,
you're
I
fourth.
am. How do they know?
You can see because he's got the little shoe thing behind him, and that is 6 feet. So he's
It
that's
is. I'm
5 feet. I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's a 4 foot thing. So he's a little slouched over.
Um, top two would probably be Dubon from Houston and Schwarber would probably be my two.
Would you think Schwarber's first pitch is going to be a home run? Because
I mean, I gave that out once on the show. I don't know if I can give it out again, but
yeah,
the
I
crazy thing
actually
with his is his odds to hit a single on the first pitch are usually higher than extra
home
base hit.
run. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I will say, Kyle Schwarber, give him credit. I mean, he's batting under 200. I mean, it's something else. But man,
right.
if he guesses fastball in that first pitch of the game and he guesses it correctly, I mean, all of a sudden you're at 1-0. It does kind of, it's a weird, tomahawk strategy the Phillies have with him batting lead off the last 2 years. But yeah, there's times where if he guesses right, that's an easy lead to start off a game, which is nice. But yeah, I want to start a theory where if you bet home runs. I don't really bet home runs that much, but I want Eli to run it for me to see what the odds are. If you just bet him first home run, and if he doesn't hit it, like first home run hit the game, and if he doesn't hit it, just bet it live. Because I'm guessing is like he always gets like 250s or three like those kind of shit odds that he's usually like 9-1 to the first home run. How often is he not hitting the first home run? As long as if it's a home game, you just have a
Right.
first inning that's clean, or if it's an away game, he gets the first pitch. So I
Right.
think that's a good look. But yeah, it's hopefully not for you. You're rooting against the Phillies today, but I would love a first pitch home run just to kind of screw you over a little bit.
I would take like a first pitch single because it's probably like
No,
plus 4,500.
yeah, it's kind of. I mean, if he's swinging first pitch, that's why the odds are so terrible. If he's swinging for first pitch, he's not swinging to protect. He's just up there like risk free.
You would have to accidentally hit a single
Yeah,
probably.
he'd have to like accidentally check a swing and have it like fall over someone
I'm
like a
pulling up
bloop
his,
single.
let's see, first pitch, bottom first. Single is plus 5,000, extra base plus 4,600. So there it is, the
It
weird
is, yeah.
in play, any other outcome, 1,500.
It's not bad either. You can always just
No,
play all of them. Hope he connects on his first pitch. I mean,
I mean that's what I do.
yeah. I mean, the odds are so ridiculous that if you, I
And
might
then
do that for fun.
Dubon is his are always super low because he swings if it's anywhere close. extra base 4,400, single 2,700, any other outcome plus 900.
All right, I think that's a good way to kind of wrap things up because I don't know about you. I don't really have anything else. I mean,
Nah,
I'm
just
trying
that.
to find these games that are exciting that they asked, but
I'm just gonna
I
keep
don't
an
think
eye
there's
on
that
that
many exciting
Darvish
games.
game. I think.
Yeah, it's a very I don't want to say sad, but it's a pretty boring slate. I think it's gonna be nice to kind of look at some live plays. I do think there's some live value in some of these games. Like if Ryan Yarbrough or whatever, if he comes out and strikes out two in the first inning and I get a 4.5 line, I am probably gonna take the under because I swear I hate the
You love doing
Guardians,
that.
but we'll see. We'll see. I think there's fun live spots tonight, but I don't have much pregame, just the two plays.
Same here.
Yeah. So do you want to just recap your two and then we can head out?
Yep. Kramer against your Phillies. PPD ladder him, start at 4, and I believe it's plus 145 for 4, and then take that as high as you are comfortable with. And
11.
then
Yeah.
I don't
11.
even think it goes that high, but sure. And then the no K parlay, the 3 guys, Garcia on the Nationals, Jose Ramirez, Cleveland, Sal Frelick, Brewers. I used my 25% boost on DraftKings, goes from 392 to plus 490 to not strike out.
I like that. And then for me, I only have two plays as well. I am fading Colin Ria of the Brewers. I'm taking the Cincinnati Reds team total first 5 over 2.5 on DraftKings plus 110. And sadly, you're going to have to go to MGM now to play the over 2.5 for Ria's. What is it for Ria's earned runs? Because it did get really juiced on DraftKings, but it is still minus 120 on MGM, and I played half a unit on both, so the juice doesn't matter as much there. They cover each other. And then my other play is I took Darvish over 17.5 outs paired with the Padres money line. That's a minus 114 on Caesars. And hopefully the Pirates do what they do best and just suck. I mean, they finally given up a little bit, but
Hey,
that's all I have.
how fitting is it that we're both betting against each other's teams tonight for pitching?
Yeah, that's actually funny. At least your team could still win, you know? Like
True. Yeah,
they
true.
could
I didn't
still
do
like I
that.
just need 3 runs. Like
Yeah.
give me a 3 run, give me like a okay, start the game off, walk, 3 run blast, perfect game the rest of the way. That's fine with me. I that's all good. Win 4-3. We'll shake your hand and we'll call it a day.
Sorry, but your team does need to lose for me, so
Yeah,
apologize
that's
in
fair.
advance.
But I think we kind of covered everything. We're out a little bit earlier, which is nice because it is such a crappy slate, but we appreciate everyone in the chat. And I think we got to most people, but we did just do the recap. And as always, we appreciate Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. We're here every Monday with GoldBoys Network. So thank you, Nick, for hopping in and
Yeah, no
doing a
problem.
wonderful job in Ryan Props' absence.